morning. This is your weekly update with Jim Stewart. I'm the Chief Investment Officer here at Orth Asset Management. Today is July 10, 2023. Now I'm going to go over your three threes for the week. I'm going to go over our top 10 major asset classes, their performance, and how we're positioned. Then I'm also going to go over the equity market in the form of the chart of the S&P 500 and its support and resistance zones. Then I'm going to go over your top three market movers for the week. So let's jump on in.
Okay, let's go over the top 10 major asset classes, their performance, and how we are positioned on a short-term and long-term basis. On a short-term basis, there were not a lot of changes. We still remain bearish on the U.S. dollar, aggregate bond, Russell, the world, emerging markets, and gold, while we remain favorable on the S&P 500, NASDAQ, real estate, and commodities on a short-term basis. Zooming out to 3 months and intermediate term basis, we did have a change. Bonds did turn negative. They may get a little bounce bit here, but yields are rising, and it looks like the Fed is going to raise at the end of this month. So that is why bonds have taken a turn. And we also have gold and commodities on an intermediate term basis that are bearish. Everything else remains bullish for the midterm basis. All right, let's look at the chart of the S&P 500 and how we are positioned. Again, keep in mind we added and started to buy back into this equity market back in the end of March. And so far, so good, 10.8% return for that particular mark. But let's take a look at the support and resistance zones, which we do on a weekly basis. And we finally broke out of that 42, headed to this huge resistance zone, which is about 4340 to 4500. And right now we've been trading sideways in there. We've got to keep a close eye on this, because if it starts to trend down, we will most likely go to protect mode and take some profits off of those areas, as we will probably retest this zone in here, because this has been a nice run. That would be very normal, right, to take a breather and retest this. Well, we'll just kind of wait, because if it does retest this, it may sit in here, trade sideways, or hopefully not go down anymore. But then it may get a breather and then start taking off again. And we'll see as we head into earnings. And it'll be very important to see what the companies are projected moving forward in the third and fourth quarter, more than what they're reporting for the second quarter, which we know in certain areas are going to be better than expected. But it's the forward guidance that we have to keep an eye on. All right, what are the top three market movers for this week? On Wednesday, we get the inflation data out of the Consumer Price Index, and they're projected to have risen 0.3 last month. On a year-over-year basis, they're likely to have gone up 3.6, which is a drop from 4% from last month, but it's still double what they're looking for at 2% on an inflation target. So most likely, right now it's at a 94% probability that they will continue to raise 25 basis points at the end of this month, because they're also looking at the core inflation number, which excludes food and energy, and that's coming in at 5.2. So they still have to taper a little bit of this inflation to get us down closer to that 2%. Thursday is the Producer Price Index, and that looks like it's projected to have risen 0.2 last month, after falling 0.3 in May, and that on a year-over-year basis is only up 0.2. So that is actually come down quite a bit, and so that's a positive, where the normal inflation out of the CPI is still a little hot. On Friday, we get consumer sentiment for July, and earnings season starts. And here come the big banks. JP Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and BlackRock will be reporting on Friday. And Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs are scheduled to report next week. We can also get earnings this week from United Health Group, Delta Airlines, and Pepsi, among some others. So this is the start of earnings season, so we got to keep an eye on what they are projected moving forward and what their guidance is. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Our next update is Monday, July 17th. As always, continue to subscribe, follow, and like, and we shall see you next week. Have a great week trading.